We have now some questions for you coming from the members in the room. And the first question is from Elena Evans, and the question is, how will you adjust the real estate tax so that it is equitable for everyone, especially low and middle income families?
Okay. The real estate tax has just been changed as a result of the AVI. And here's what our problem is. Don't worry about that. Here's what our problem is. Philadelphia has more people living at or below the poverty line than any other place in Philadelphia. And because of that, we cannot tax real estate of those people any more than they've already been taxed. It's impossible. So the only other alternative is to change the AVI and make it higher. I believe that there's a better way than doing AVI, and that is looking to how we spend our money. We already have the SRC imposed upon us because of a whole variety of reasons, and the PICA board over us. I would bet you, the questioner, that if we looked at how we are spending our money, we could save enough money through careful, a constructive look at how we spend our money so that we have at least 5, 6, 7, or 8% that we can take out of what we're spending and use it towards education. I think the more we build people and infrastructure into the city, have a net inward migration of people, we will sell and do more real estate. I think the question is really about, as I think about it, the 10-year tax abatement. I think that's really the heart of the question. And I believe that the 10-year tax abatement really needs to be kept in place for this reason. Wait a minute. Wait. It gets people to come in here, but here's the important part. You give a 20-year tax abatement for impoverished people so that they can get better housing and get the tax abatement they need to stay in Philadelphia, to get them educated, to get into very much better, decent jobs. So I don't believe, if that's the question, the tax abatement, and I've put it in my questionnaire, is necessarily the way to go on this question. I believe we can do a better tax structure in Philadelphia, business tax structure improvements, and being a better steward of our finances to get the money that you need from the city as a recurring tax incentive. Thanks.
Thank you. We have another question for you, and this question is from Tatiana Omela from Central High School, and the question is, what are your specific plans to create a locally elected school board in Philadelphia, given that you support the dissolution of the SRC as the governing body for the school district of Philadelphia?
Well,
we can keep it to 90 seconds.
Thank you, Jerry. I'm sorry. Well, look, I think there's two problems here. Number one is the SRC has been imposed upon us by the state. So even though we support the dissolution of the SRC, the question is, what is the state going to require of us in order to get money, and how are they going to keep us, our feet, if you will, to the fire? I don't know whether this governor is going to be able to, given the Republican domination of both houses of our legislature, if he's going to be able to dissolve the SRC. If he does, so much the better. Then there's two alternatives: appointed board by the mayor, elected board. The difference between an appointed board and an elected board is that an elected board can impose its own tax structure. The question is, which way are we going to go? If the governor, even though he wants to, cannot dissolve the SRC because Senate Majority Leader Gorman and House Majority Leader Karzai keep it on us, then we won't be able to dissolve the SRC at all. And they will say, here's the money, but we're going to keep your feet to the fire. And in order to make you do that, we're going to keep the SRC where we have the power, not you. So I'm not sure that that is going to be doable unless the governor can convince the legislature, with us weighing in, that we can manage our own money, thank you very much, and then we can appoint or elect our board with input from all interested community sectors to get the best possible board that we can.
Thank you, Lynn. The next question comes from David Hensel from Taggart School. You have been very vocal about your support of stop and frisk policing. Do you think our high school students should be subjected to stop and frisk?
Well, I believe that's not a correct statement of my position. I think you're confusing me with Mayor Michael Nutter. Sorry. No. I didn't write that executive order. He did. I believe that the Constitution of our Commonwealth and the Constitution of Pennsylvania, the Constitution of the United States of America must be respected. So I believe if you read the Inquirer this morning, you have seen that Mayor Nutter's policy of having the police aggressively stop people has not been working to the benefit of all people, and I don't support his executive order. So probably one of the first things I would do after I take care of the school issue is repeal or abrogate his stop and frisk order, because I don't believe the way it is being exercised by our police is the proper way, and I would then educate and retrain our officers on the proper way to enforce our Pennsylvania and United States Constitution. I know how to do that.
And one last question for you, and this question comes from Larissa Pohumov.
It's okay.
Help me with the last. Pohumov from Science Leadership Academy. The question is, how do you propose bringing the school district back to the collective bargaining table to negotiate our contract?
Well, let me say, I thought that the suit brought against the PFT was a disgrace and an outrage. And the reason it was a disgrace and an outrage is that because they had not announced that there was a stalemate, it was ill brought, it was wrong, it was an offense to you, and the collective bargaining agreement that you signed and everybody else agreed to should be fully implemented, effectuated. That includes pension rights, that includes appropriate pay raises, that applies to job conditions and everything else. So there is an appeal, as you know. So the answer to the question is, we don't know what the appeal is going to result in, and you never can tell when you take an appeal. My hope and expectation is that the decision by the lower court will be upheld by the appellate court, and then we can get back to the business of getting our teachers better paid, getting better conditions in our schools, getting our fair funding formula for our children with appropriate allotments for our needs of our children, and then everybody will be able to do what's really important in this city, and that's educating our children and making sure that our children have the absolute maximum impact on their neighborhoods and their communities by getting the first grade education that you, ladies and gentlemen, you teachers, counselors, librarians, and everybody else supplies to them on a daily basis. And since I have like 30 seconds left, I want to tell you something. I bought the public library for the T.M. Pierce Elementary School. I bought it, and I got it paid for out of friends of mine who contributed money to buy that library. It was a national disgrace that as a civilian, the District Attorney of Philadelphia had to buy a library for the T.M. Pierce Elementary School. If you go into the Pierce School, you'll see my library. I hope they've updated it in the past several years. But I did that because my love of Philadelphia's children is so deep that I couldn't stand to see our schools become a national disgrace because we didn't have a library, and God knows we certainly don't have librarians. So on to victory on May 19th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynne Abraham. Let's thank Lynne Abraham.